Growing up, I didn't necessarily feel like I was part of the womanhood. And now I do more because I realize being a woman is not as narrowly construed as I thought it was when I was a young adult. And me being a woman is empowering. And I think that there's compassion and caring and empathy that goes with it. And I believe that the role of women within the intersex movement is particularly empowering because we are so aware that others will constantly try to control us. And intersex and the medicalized treatment of intersex is really one of control. Hi, I'm Betsy Driver, and I am the mayor of Flemington Borough in Huntington County, New Jersey. Please. Yeah. Mayor Driver. Here. Mr. Glasgow. Here. Mr. Austin McCormick. Here. I was born in Buffalo, New York in the mid-1960s. And when I was born, my doctors weren't quite sure if I was a boy or a girl based upon what my genitals looked like. Intersex, very simply, is being born with a congenital difference in sex characteristics that differs from standard male or female. There is often an urge early on in that child's life to surgically shape their body into the gender that the medical community believes that child will grow up to fit into. Many of these surgeries, I did not discover they actually happened to me until I was in my mid-30s. As a child growing up outside of the medicalization of my body, I was like any other kid. I was a bit of a tomboy. I liked to play sports. I was born with something called congenital adrenal hyperplasia, and that's a life-threatening disease. I can die. If I don't take the medicine every day, I can die. There was never a connection made, however, between this disease that I have and what was going on with my body. But in the late 1990s, I bought my first computer. I went on and I Googled congenital adrenal hyperplasia. It was the very, very first thing I did when I got this thing hooked up to the dial-up internet with that little funny noise the modems used to make. And I discovered I wasn't the only one, and it was life-changing. I realized then just how much my childhood had been a lie. And that's what prompted me to get my medical records. And that's when I discovered what happened at 8 months old. I was in my mid-30s before I discovered the surgeries that were done on my body as a child. It was anger. There was sadness. There was jealousy as to maybe what it would have been like to not have had these things done to my body, to not have a body that had been so medicalized, which I still think was medicalized sexual abuse. And I was sad for my mother too, because she had been lied to at that point by being told there was nobody else out there. Taking that and realizing and reading through some of those other records and realizing that there was real efforts made to keep us isolated from other kids with intersex variations as well, I decided with somebody else who I met through one of these groups for women with CAH that we started Bodies Like Ours. So Bodies Like Ours was an internet-based community for people throughout the world to meet each other and talk about what it was like to be born with an intersex variation. It really gave birth to the intersex movement. Even now we'll get some contact from people who say, oh, I was on Bodies Like Ours in 2003 or 2004 and you saved my life. Or I'll hear intersex advocates giving a speech and they'll reference it. And then I kind of dropped out of the whole intersex advocacy for a while. I got married, I got focused on my career. My wife and I had 2 children that we were raising. And then I got breast cancer. Then there was some theory that some of the breast cancer, the variety of breast cancer that I had, was due to the hormones that were given to me as a child to try and feminize my body. And then I got past the cancer and was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, unrelated to the breast cancer. And again, questions as to whether or not this ovarian cancer was due to some of the hormones given to me as a child. These 2 things kind of encouraged me to start looking what's happening in the intersex movement again. It reopened, it reawakened that intersex activist in me. I found myself as an unemployed journalist, started coming to council meetings. I decided that I would run. I wasn't happy with what I saw, and I would run for council. And against all advice given to me from political advisors, I wrote my story about Intersex Awareness Day and my history as an intersex advocate, and I used it as a campaign piece. The response was just amazing from people. People who probably would not have voted for me because they saw courage and they saw somebody who could make something happen. I ended up becoming the first openly intersex person elected to public office in the United States, and only the second in the world, right behind my friend Tony Briffa in Melbourne, Australia. Well, after a few months on council, I decided the mayor's seat was up for election, and I decided I was going to run for mayor. Next up is Resolution 2019-117, proclaiming the month of June as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Questioning and Intersex Pride Month in the borough of Flemington. We did this last year for the first time ever. And if we could have a motion to move that.
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
And with it on the floor, I just want to point out that this is just really important that we make sure that all members of our community are welcome in our community and made to feel part of our community. Obviously, those of you who know my own history, this is important to me as well, and I do appreciate council's consideration on that.
Happy World Pride, people! Say hello to your community heroes.
So today I left my mayor phone at home because I'm just strictly gay and not mayor today. New York City Pride has always been very inclusive. I spoke at a Pride rally in 2004 or 5, I forget the exact year. I spoke last year at their Pride rally. This year I'll be on their lead float and the Community Heroes float leading off the parade. And I'm incredibly proud of that they are recognizing intersex, as well as my accomplishments as a person with an intersex variation elected to public office. My mother, before she died, did tell me, my mother died of cancer, and did tell me how proud she was of me doing this work. And so as I'm up there on that float, I think really it's probably going to be, oh man, if my mom could see me now. The value of the sisterhood and knowing that other women have your back and that we have each other's backs is really good. It's really empowering. Be yourself, tell your own story, be proud of your story, embrace who you are, just be yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Sari, the producer of Her Stories. Click here to watch more episodes, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave us a comment letting us know what other people and topics you want to see on the show. And make sure to subscribe to Now This Her. Thanks for watching.